Okay, so today I'm making some of these drawer dividers for my planer and sander cabinet. You can see that all the wood is here, and it's actually this right here, and as you can see in the picture next to me on one side or the other, I should show a diagram for my drawing, but these go in between all the drawers, and they basically just space out the cabinet like as if a solid piece were there. Now, the advantage of using something like this is that if I had to replace these with solid pieces of plywood, because of the size, the 30 inches and the 27, 29 inches across, I would have had to buy 2 more sheets of plywood. So by doing this method here, I only had to buy 2 sheets total. I would have had to buy 4 sheets of plywood if I made these all solid. The other advantage is that this takes uses up the extra that I had on the plywood pieces. So when I got my main pieces cut out of the plywood, I was able to easily cut all of these from that. So it makes maximum use of the sheet of plywood. The other advantage is it makes the cabinet lighter, and it also makes it a little bit open space. Now, if I wasn't putting drawers in there, if I was putting doors, cabinet doors and making shelves in there, I probably wouldn't use these as spacers in between things, but because they are drawers, this works out perfect. Now I'm doing the pocket hole here. I'm using the pocket holes, and I already have them drilled, and I have them getting ready to assemble here. And what I'm going to use is this quick release Rockler clamp, and the pocket hole jig clamp. And this has a little insert here that goes into the drill holes of the pocket hole, and it clamps it to the face frame. Now, pocket holes, when I had my cabinet shop, we used them just for face frames, but now you use them for building cabinets, use them for all kinds of things. This particular clamp is really good for something that is flat, like a face frame, or like these interior webbings that I have for the cabinet. So you need I can't say my words now. You need a flat surface for this to sit on, so that it keeps everything in line and makes it much easier for you to clamp it up. Now, on my surface here, I have a couple of fences here, which this leans against, so that it makes it nice and solid. So when I'm pushing this direction, inserting the screws, I have something that is pretty solid against there. It doesn't move. I also placed down some packing tape on my table here, so that when the glue spills out, it doesn't damage my table, or it's easy to clean up afterwards in between each piece that I glue up. So I'm going to go ahead and add some glue to these and start working on this. Now, the pocket holes, they're a pretty solid joint by themselves. You could easily get away with not using any glue at all, because the screws tend to pull it together. But the idea of the clamp is the clamp locks them together, so that when the screws go in, it doesn't throw anything off or move the wood at all. Now, the other thing I should talk about these clamps, these Rocklers, is that they have this slide mechanism. I'm going to show this camera here. They have a slide mechanism that allows it to move rather quickly, and this allows you to open it up. As I say that, I have a little bit of an issue here. Let me adjust that. I think I got it in between. There it is. Yeah, so now it goes. So it allows it to open up much quicker than having to screw it all the way in or screw it down. So it sort of speeds up your work here. Now, I like to use a fair amount of glue. I don't go crazy on the glue, but I do use a fair amount. And again, I use the slide ratcheting and put that piece together, make sure that everything's lined up. I'm pushing down on everything so that it sort of wedges, between the table and the clamp, and make sure everything is square. Tighten that up pretty good. Come back over here, double check. All looks good. So now I'm going to insert the inside screws, which is going to lock it together on both sides here. That's why I have 2 clamps, to make it a little bit more efficient. There we go. And again, I just take a couple turns and then press that release button, and I'm able to take these clamps out. All right. Now, I have a damp cloth here so that I can just wipe down these clamps so I don't get glue on other stuff and keep my clamps clean. And like I said, I have the tape there, so I'll wipe that down before I start the other side too. But before I do all of that, I'm going to finish up putting in the screws. Now it's a good idea to have 2 screws when you're putting together your face frame, because that way it locks everything together and keeps it square. And that's the whole idea. So I'm going to clean up the glue that came off onto my table so that I don't have glue build up and start damaging everything. Although it doesn't matter in this particular one because these are all inside pieces that nobody's ever going to see. So I could actually, I'm not going to have to sand these or do anything else. I'm going to put edge banding on one end of the piece when they're in the cabinet, because that will be towards the front. So again, placing some glue on my joint and pulling these together using the Rockler quick release pocket hole clamp. And that quick release mechanism really is nice, because even though I'm at the 3-inch wide pieces that I have here are about the maximum for this. But even there, I still have probably a 1/2 inch that I'd have to screw in if I didn't have the quick release mechanism, which there we are. And all you got to do once you get it in, or once you start working on it, is just push the back of the handle, and that sort of ratchets it forward. So it really is a fast device to get everything going. You can see how quickly this glues up getting these 2 clamped. Now again, the clamp is nice and tight. It makes it so that none of this moves. And I got that a little bit too high there. And it allows the screws to lock in and go in, and nothing moves out of place. So once you have the alignment set with the clamp, everything works perfect. And everything's set. And all automatically aligned. And again, this is using the pocket holes. Yeah, I'm a little loose here, so making it difficult for me. There we are. All right. So again, put my last 2 screws in, the holes that were used by the clamp. And by the time this one comes in, everything's locked down pretty good by the first screw. So it tends not to move, but I still put pressure down on everything just to keep it in place on the table. And finally, wipe off my table and my webbing, and of course my clamps, so that it doesn't dry on there. And if I do use them on a face frame, I don't want it transferring the glue over to the face frame or damaging the face frame once the glue dries. So here's my completed webbing. I got all 8 screws in there. Everything's set to go. And I just set it aside to let the glue dry. But I could actually just take this and slide it right in and start building the cabinet with the way these are as soon as I'm done. Yeah, the quick release pocket hole clamp by Rockler is worth the money. It has a little dowel right here, which inserts into the hole made by the pocket, the drill for the pocket holes. And again, the quick release mechanism here allows this to move back and forth rather quickly, making it easy to put together and take off. So I would recommend, one other thing I should point out is that this handle here, if let's say you had to put to the edge and then push it in, it didn't quite fit on your table, you can adjust this handle around so that if you tightened it up and it was like this and be hitting the table, you just simply pull that out and move the handle around so that it lies flat on the table. The thickness here, 3/4 is about the thickest, or thinnest I should say, that you could use with this. And it works perfect on 3/4 stock. I think 1/2 inch you'd have to raise it up off the table a little bit so that you can, because this would extend below that. But all in all, I think they're $17.99 on sale, 20 something if they're not on sale. But well worth the investment. I have 2 of these, and I will be using them quite a bit as I continue to build all of the cabinets, because pocket holes will be something that I will be using on almost all of my kitchen cabinets at some section of the cabinet as I build them. So hopefully that helps. If you're looking to buy some clamps to hold these things together, I can highly recommend these. These work well. They're built well. I think you'll like them. Until then, talk to you soon as I have something else new to show you.